beautiful, beautiful beer. How you guys doing? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. The weekly vlog that some of us do. Some people do more than vlogs. Sometimes they brew something or they do something. Me too. I do that. Today I was going to do rehydrating yeast, but I wasn't able to pull that together. So I will do that in the near future for you, maybe in another video, a separate one, or maybe next week. It's not a hard procedure, but there are things to talk about regarding rehydrating yeast. And so I may touch on a couple of those today, lightly. And we'll get more into it when we actually do it. It seems like such an easy thing just to add water to your yeast and let it dissolve and then put it in your beer. But there's all kinds of different things that people do out there that I don't think are the best, or at least that's what we're told. And again, you know me, that unless I try something for myself, I'm not necessarily sure that, it's true, because there's a lot of rumorage or brew lore out there. As we learned with the pitching yeast on top of, pitching a brew on top of the existing yeast bed, it can be done. There is no problem with it. And people do it all the time. Who was the guy on YouTube? Tiny, oh shoot. I'll put his name at the bottom of the screen. Guy with the big orange beard, Australian,
Cheers guys, Tiny here from Off Tap Brewing. Guys, I want to touch on something that I've done a few times and I will do in the future and do it again, and people, the naysayers will naysay, but guys, beer over beer brewing is what I call it. Beer over beer. Anybody out there ever had an off flavour or tasted an off flavour from adding too much yeast to a beer? Comment down below. Let the arguments begin, because seriously, unless it was like 90% yeast and 10% beer, I don't think it's going to happen. It'll be quick, it'll be vigorous with the more yeast in there, and it does get more vigorous the more times you do it. Now I've done it for a maximum of 3 times, and I probably wouldn't push it past that. But when I do it, I will dry hop every single time, and that beer just develops all those flavours, and I'll leave a bit of beer from each one into it. So one beer leads into another, leads into another.
There you go. He does it like 3 times in a row. Without cleaning out anything. Just boom. Ferment that thing, put that in a keg. Boom. Put another batch on, ferment that, put that in a keg. Boom. Put another batch, There's... People say, yo, you can't do it. Of course you can. Unless you've tried it and you've proven you can't do it, I think that you should probably just reserve your right to silence until you know that you can't do it. There's probably some science behind it. You know what? Brewing beer in your home is not as spot on, or doesn't need to be as spot on as brewing beer in a big brewery, where consistency is absolutely important. It's absolutely paramount. This beer has to be the same all year round, every year, every month, every 10 years, whatever. So they have to make sure that they've got absolute control over their process in the big breweries or even the microbreweries. Us as home brewers, if that's what you want, okay, then you're going to do whatever you need to do to achieve that kind of control. I know myself and a lot of us, we're just making good beer. If it's not the same as the last batch, or it doesn't fall into a specific brew guideline, we're not really too upset, because we're just brewing. We're experimenting. Every single beer that we make is an experiment, isn't it? So, there you go. Anyway, what am I drinking? I have a beer kit that was brought to me. His name is Jeff, and he knows who he is. He's probably watching this. And this is a Brewer's Best American Pale Ale. Oh, sad news. I can't get these anymore locally like I used to be able to. My supplier, his supplier, stopped carrying them for some reason. So, which I don't understand because they're excellent brew kits. So it's a Brewer's Best American Pale Ale, and it doesn't have like the greatest head retention. You know, it could be my fault. Maybe I've undercarbonated it. I don't know yet. My freezer is waning, and we'll cover the topic of the new freezer in a moment. But I will tell you something, and I'm going to take a little bit of a sample of this. These Brewer's Best kits are really well made. You get great balance, you get great beer. Everything's pre-measured. You don't have to worry about anything. It's all there. I'm a fan of the Brewer's Best kits, as a lot of people are. I've had a lot of comments, people saying they brewed these things and they just work great. So kudos to Brewer's Best. If you're watching, or if anybody from there is watching, please let the Brewer's Best guys know that I love their brew kits. And when I can get my hands on them, I will continue to brew them and review them and give you guys my opinion on them. So, excuse me. Oh, wow. There you go. One of the components of it's working. So this is an American APA. Well, APA, a little bit of redundancy there. And it's just a very mild, I wouldn't say very mild. It's not quite like a full-on hop, party. It just has that nice balance between the hops and the malt. And it's a fairly basic beer. There's not a lot of complexity to this. I didn't expect there to be because it was a pretty basic recipe. I don't have the recipe. Oh, I do have it upstairs, but just look up Brewer's Best APA, and you'll find it, and you'll see what's in it. You can tell. It's just there's a couple of caramel malts, or a caramel malt, and just the liquid malt extract. It's an extract beer. But it's all extract. There's no sugars or anything like that in here, like, dextrose or whatever. So I'm really enjoying it. It's a good beer. It's a very good beer. It doesn't look very clear because why doesn't it look very well? It actually isn't too bad. I bought a new freezer because mine is the compressor is failing. It keeps the beer cold, but if I want to make it into a freezer and chill the beer real quickly, it won't do that. So something's wrong. So I bought a new freezer. I'll show it right now. Beautiful little freezer. It wasn't very expensive. It's very light. They carried it down, 2 of them, without a dolly, which is, in my opinion, very strange, because the freezer I've had for 25 years weighs like 5,000 pounds. They brought it in and delivered it and everything like that. When they left, I opened up the lid and I said, oh no. There's no way my kegs are going to fit in that. And they don't. I bet you the truck was still out there. I could have ran out and said, hey guys, come on, take it. But that, you got to go through a whole procedure to get them to return an item. So I've upgraded to a larger one. I've already ordered it, and that one will be picked up, and the larger one will be delivered next week. Unfortunately, that's how long it's going to take. So hopefully this old clunker I've got going on back here, which runs almost constantly, it's probably chewing up tons of electricity. Hopefully it'll hang in there until the new one comes and I can get set up. A little bit pissed off today that happened, but whatever. I should have done more research, I guess, when I was buying it. You buy something online, it's hard to see you know, because the freezer I have, the compressor is in one corner of the thing. So you got like 3/4 of it is space. Like, it's great. That one, they've you know, obviously you can see that the whole side of it is the compressor and the wiring and all that stuff. So there's less space in these things, these newer ones. Anyway, the one I'm upgrading to is bigger, and it's going to be fine. So I'll live. It'll be fine. So as far as the rehydrating, we'll go back to that for just a moment. A few little things that I want to touch on. And so when we get into the actual video of doing it, you'll know that there's more to it than just, you know, adding some water to some yeast and whatnot. There's the issue of microwaving water. That can be a bit of a problem. Okay? And it can be dangerous too. So I prefer to use a kettle. Maybe some people have newer microwaves, different, you know, that do things differently. But I'll tell you, in my microwave, my water does not boil. And then when you open the door and take the thing out, it goes, it sprays all over the place. It's called super boiling. It happens with microwaves sometimes, and it can be very, very dangerous. So be careful. Some people add sugar to the water before they pitch the yeast to try and give it some food or something to do while it's sitting there. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. When you introduce your yeast, when the first thing it gets is a simple sugar, it could probably get lazy. And then when you add it to your wort, it might be saying you're going to lose, you know, as many yeast cells if you would if you just pitched it dry. Because some of them are going to go, this is too much work for me. I just had a simple meal. I'm going to sleep. So I'll talk more about that when I do that video. I would rather see people adding some dry malt extract to the water to get the yeast going. At least, you know, then you've got what's sort of, you know, coined as a yeast starter. Sort of like a mini yeast starter, I guess, if you will. It's better than nothing. Or is it? When you rehydrate your yeast, all you're trying to do is dissolve the solids and get down to the individual cells of the yeast and moisten it so that you can pour it into your wort. And that's the one debate we'll never solve, the pronunciation of that, and so that it's ready to go. You're only doing it for 15 minutes. There's no need to, you know, worry about that yeast getting starving or dying or hungry, or you know, it's just going to wake up and go, "Where's the food? I'm ready to go. I'm all moist. I'm good. I'm dissolved. Where's my food?" Dump it into your wort. Don't worry too much about adding sugar, or I know when they bake bread, they do what's called proofing. So they proof the yeast. They'll add some water and some sugar to the yeast, and then they'll see if it bubbles and whatnot, and they'll know, okay, this is good yeast, we can add it to the bread. That's different. We're not making beer here, we're making bread. Okay, this is not the same thing. Okay, so for now, just when you're going to rehydrate your yeast, if you're going to, just use water. Okay, boiled water that's been cooled down to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'll go over more details when we actually do it. Right? If you're going to add sugar or, you know, dry malt extract to the water, you may as well just pitch the damn dry yeast onto your wort. I mean, it's, you know, all we're doing is adding water to it. That's it. That's the whole essence of rehydrating your yeast. It's just water, nothing else. And then you add it to the concoction that you've made, and it's going to go, okay, well, this is what we've got. This is what we're going to do. So, it's, you know, try to resist yourself from adding sugars and things like that to your yeast rehydration process, because you don't have to. and it may actually be counterproductive. We have some t-shirts for sale. Yes, as you've noticed, new shirts. Very beautiful color. This is a blue one, dark blue. It's got that on the sleeve there. Where the hits just keep on coming. And that is part of our slogan here, my slogan, when I do my live broadcasts. And on YouTube as well. The hits just keep on coming on YouTube as well. So that's cool. Great shirts. Nice quality. And let me show you something else. I need to take a few minutes to go around and shut off some lights. If you just want to be patient with me for just a moment, I'll be right back. Alright, well, you can't see me very well, but you can see my shirt. I have a black light in the room here, and the ink that we use for these shirts is actually phosphorescent. So if you happen to have a black light in your house, or you can get one, they glow like crazy. And outside in the sun, they really, really do look great. Well, guys, I'm going to sit down here with my black light and play some vinyl. And I want to take this time to say thank you so much. I know it's dark, but thank you so much for watching, for supporting, for everything that you do on the community and with the channel, with my channel. 17brewcrew.com as well is a great place to be. Don't forget to check out my other channels, my vinyl channel, my Craig Talk channel, those two as well. I'll be posting more videos on those very soon. I'll put links down to those below in the more info section as well. So not hard for you to find them, and go ahead and subscribe. This is CraigTube, where the hits just keep on coming. Cheers. That looks cool.